Some of you may know in early 2012 I was diagnosed with having 3 cancers that were trying to have their way with me, and this is not a sad story. I'm actually in remission, so it's all good. And besides, I've got way too much stuff still to do, so it's all happy days. For me, my cancer journey was about being mindful. Engaging mentally and being part of the solution, being part of the treatment process, and not thinking too far ahead or cluttering my mind with things that were out of my control. And also surrounding myself with great friends and positive people, particularly my Tai Chi friends and colleagues here. I thank you very much for all of that positive chi that you sent me. Now, I am on a time limit, so I'm not allowed to digress too long. So at the beginning, the doctors and specialists tried to give me plenty of warning about this and that, and bombarded me with endless amount of information. And in particular, they kept talking about all these multiple side effects I was going to have. Well, to be honest with you, the only thing I could remember was I was going to get chemo brain. And that meant that maybe I was going to lose my focus a little bit and potentially not be able to focus at all on my Tai Chi. And we all know how Dr. Paul wouldn't be happy about that. So on a sidebar, I just wanted to add here that being a Tai Chi for Health instructor leader also has some hidden benefits, particularly when one of my students was the operations theatre booking nurse, and she would consult me first before making any bookings, which came in very handy. Instead of talking to the doctors, she would ring me. And another one of my students also happened to be the wife of the oncology specialist, and he would often give me free consultations, even if it was just outside the coffee shop at the hospital grounds. So herein lies a lesson for all you young budding instructors. Be kind and look after your students and participants. You just never know. All right, so getting back to my story. Here I am all armed up with all this information and nervous as anything, ready to show up for my very first radiation session. And I walk into the waiting room. I see there's one other gentleman sitting there by himself. So I give him the appropriate nod and being careful not to ask him how he is in case he tells me. Sat the 2 seats away, and we just sat quietly there for a few moments, and suddenly he looks up, points into the corner and says, "I'm glad I'm not that guy." And I'm thinking to myself, there's no one there. So this is what chemo brain's all about. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking. A couple of moments went by, and then again he would just casually point back into the corner saying, "I'm glad I'm not him." And I said, "Who do you mean?" He says, that guy that no one is worse than." So I knew right there and then this was for me. I went, wow. I knew right then that I had to stay mentally connected and remain positive and mindful of everything that was going to go on. Because no matter how bad I thought things were or how bad I thought things were going to get, I wasn't that guy, the guy that no one is worse than. So I had to stay focused, engage the body and the mind, be mindful. And what did Dr. Paul say? Embrace the concept of Jing. So I took mindfulness to a whole new level for me. I would practice my Tai Chi every day. And when I felt too sick physically, at least in my mind, even when I felt like you know what, I even practiced while I was heavily sedated. And apparently I tried to teach the medical and surgical staff the TCA form. This did become a bit of a talking point around the hospital, and some staff did draw straws to see if they could get in on the procedure as well. Whenever possible, I would walk around the ward with my high-vis safety shoes on, carrying my brand new best friend, the drip bag tree, and I would gently, casually put the heel out first, place the foot flat, shift the weight forward, lift up the back heel, then the toes, and start the next step. Even the nurses would join in with me occasionally and do a lap around, just so that they could relax and take some time out for themselves. So sure, there were some tough times, and things didn't always go as planned. But the concept of deflecting the overwhelming incoming forces, absorbing what I could and redirecting what I couldn't, really did help. And above all, I remembered I wasn't that guy. I'm not pointing to you. Some people do like to define you as being a cancer survivor or a thriver, and that's a nice thing. It's a fluffy thing. But I'd like to think that I'm more than what cancer has defined me as. I was a Tai Chi junkie before, and I'm a Tai Chi junkie still. So please practice whenever you can, even in the quiet corners and far reaches of your mind. Be mindful when facing your challenges. Thank you.